you ever wonder how world-class athletes such as LeBron, Ronaldo, and Messi are able to stay so consistent over a long period of time? Because as an athlete who has played sports since they were 5 years old, and as somebody who coaches elite athletes now on the mental side of the game, I can tell you that it comes down to two things. And it has nothing to do with their talent, but everything to do with what they've trained and what a lot of athletes don't train. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. What those two things are and how you can implement it into your game so you can be just as consistent as them. So the first thing that separates these elite athletes from a regular athlete is their ability to respond to mistakes and to losses. Because what these elite athletes understand is that mistakes and losses are inevitable. It doesn't matter how hard they train. They can train from sun up to sundown, but they still understand the fact they're still going to make a mistake and they're still going to lose games. So it's not about if it's going to happen, it's about how they're going to respond when it does happen, right? And a lot of athletes have the misconception that if I train hard enough, if I practice hard enough, if I'm perfect enough in practice, then I'm going to go into the game and never make a mistake. And that's how you cook yourself. So when you actually do make a mistake, you don't know what to do, which is the main reason why I'm sure we've all experienced this. Even I've experienced this in my playing days. We go into the game and we make our first mistake. Then we think to ourselves, how do you mess that up? Like, are you really that trash? Are you really that bad? Right? Then you carry that same energy, those same thoughts into the next play. Then you make another mistake. And then it only magnifies the pain and the frustration even more. Then you go into the next play, trying to make up for that bad play, and you're just spiraling, and it all just goes downhill from there. It's very similar to gambling. I don't gamble, by the way, but I know a lot of degenerates in my life. So it's like gambling. It's like revenge betting. So an athlete, or not an athlete, a gambler will lose a bet, and he gets pissed off and gets frustrated. So in order to make his money back and whatever he's gambling on, he tries to bet again. He lets his emotions take over and he bets again to try to make that money back. The next thing you know, he digs himself deeper in the hole. And the whole night he's just trying to get his money back. Right? It's the same thing with sports. You make that one bad play, then you try to make up for that bad play with another bad play, and you just spiral. It's the same exact thing. And that's what these elite athletes train. They train themselves to respond to these mistakes, to respond to these losses, which is how they're able to make one really bad mistake. Then the next play, make a really great highlight play. Like Ronaldo, for example, he can miss a free kick, then 10 minutes later, he's hitting a screamer from 40 yards. And I've always wondered, I'm like, how the hell does he do that? And he's trained himself to do this. Or Steph Curry, for example, he can throw up 5 bricks. Then the next 10 shots he makes is all net. And that always confused me. That always boggled me. Like, how the hell do they do this? And I thought it was just something that they were born with. I thought it was just strictly talent. But from my research and my experience in working with elite athletes, I come to the realization that it's something that they've trained. And what they're training specifically is their focus. They learn to not focus on the mistake and the loss, which allows them to bounce back right away, which allows them to go from one bad game to the best game of their life, one mistake to the greatest player of their life. And this is something that they train daily, train constantly all the time. And they probably get to the point where they just do it naturally. So Steph Curry again, for example, unlike most people when they miss a shot or make a bad play, they don't think to themselves, "Oh, like how do you miss that? Are you really that trash? You're really not that good?" He instead focuses on the next play or what he has to do practically the next play. "Oh, I didn't flick my wrist enough on that shot. So I'm going to do that the next time." Right? He never brings past baggage into the future. He never brings those negative thoughts and those negative emotions into the next play because it's those same negative thoughts and negative emotions that you're focusing that energy and attention on is the main reason why you bring that into the or make another mistake the next play. Right? Like I explained earlier. They've trained this so much. Right? So anytime they catch themselves focusing on a negative thought or a negative emotion, they flip it right away. So instead of what if I mess up? It's what if I don't mess up? What if I miss that or lose that game? It's what if I win that game? Right? And it's just constantly, you're just constantly doing this over and over again. It's just like any other reps that you do in your sport. like you swinging the baseball bat a million times, all right? Train your focus a million times. And this is something that I actually do with my clients and teach my clients as well, is to train their focus. Focus on what they actually want rather than what they don't want, right? Never focus on the past and bring it into the future, okay? Don't focus on the mistake. Focus on what you got to do the next play, all right? And this is how they're able to stay consistent, these elite athletes, right? And if you have a focus problem, which I'm sure a lot of us Gen Zers do from TikTok and everything, we all got brain rot, all right? Because I have a client, he can't sit down and focus on anything to save his life. It's actually kind of crazy. Like he's always like looking. So what I had him do to train his focus is literally stare at a doorknob for 30 minutes. Right? 30 minutes a day of just staring at a doorknob. Anytime he catches his focus shifting off of the doorknob or his thoughts basically spiraling into thoughts he doesn't want, I have him focus back on the doorknob every single time. And I have him do that for 30 minutes every single day. Then when it comes to the game, because he used to overthink in a game a lot, he plays pickleball. So anytime he would miss a shot into the net, he would think to himself, like most people, like, oh, how do you miss that shot? How do you put it into the net? Like, you can't miss that. I have him focus on, like, oh, I didn't flick my wrist enough. I didn't brush the ball enough, so that's why I didn't go over. I'm going to do that next time, right? You have to do this for yourself. You have to learn how to train your focus. Focus is one of the most important mental skills you can have as an athlete. And that's what makes these elite athletes so consistent and what allows them to be good over a long period of time, because they don't let that loss or that mistake basically get momentum. All right. Now, for the second thing is emotional regulation. These athletes don't get too high on the wins and don't get too low on the losses. Because if your emotions are just going up and down like this, how do you think you're going to play? Up and down like this, which is why it feels like you can have the greatest game of your life one game, then the next game play like absolute shit. And it's because your emotions are just going up and down, up and down. You have to learn how to be neutral, right? Really think of who's super, like Jokic, for example. He's the same no matter what. He wins the NBA finals and it feels like another day in the office for him. Like he just doesn't care. All he cares about is his horses. And the same thing with the loss. He's exactly the same. Because if you get too high on your wins, you're just going to be so like, oh, like head in the clouds, right? And you're going to get overconfident. You're going to try to overcook and make plays that are not even there because you're just so overconfident. Like me, for example. Oh man, here's a story time for you guys. I used to play corner for American football, and I used to just lock this receiver up all game. I was locking him up for all 3 quarters. The next thing you know, I'm just overconfident. I'm like, this guy is ass. Like, he is not going to catch a ball on me the rest of the game. Then I just start just fucking around. I just start doing dumb. I'm not lining up properly. I'm not doing my reads properly. Then next thing you know, I get torched for a 50-yard bomb. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go from here to here in a span of one play. And then I'm just cooked. I'm cooked now. So now it's all downhill from here. Now he just keeps catching balls all fourth quarter. And then I end up down bad, essentially. Right? Because I couldn't regulate my emotions. You have to be the same when you win and be the exact same when you lose. Another basketball legend I can give you is Tim Duncan. Right? Tim Duncan is so emotionally regulated and so emotionless to the point where it's kind of scary. He's almost robotic. I guess Kawhi Leonard is kind of like this too, but we'll just focus on Tim Duncan right now. It doesn't matter if he wins the NBA championship like he's done multiple times. He's like this. Or if he loses a game, he's like this. It's like, what the hell? Like he's trained his nervous system. He's trained his emotions so much to not get too high on the wins and get too low on the losses. And what I'm saying is to not feel emotions. Like, yes, you can feel emotions. All right. I'm not saying be a robot. I'm just saying don't let it take you to mountain high and don't let it take you 6 feet below the ground either. All right. When you win a game, it's okay to like, yeah, I won that game. It's cool. All right. It's fine. Time to move on now. All right. Or when you lose a game, like, yeah, I lost that game. All right. This is what I learned from it. All right, cool. I'm not going to take that with me into the next game. It's all about managing your emotions. Okay. Not getting or managing. Oh my God, I can't talk. I'm already stuttering. It's about managing these emotions and regulating them to the point where it doesn't affect how you play. All right? That's what I need you to understand. And this is something you got to train and do every single time. So now that you know these two things on what make these elite athletes so consistent over a long period of time, now you have to build a system in place to enable for you to be able to do this for yourself. Right? The first one being is training your focus. Training your focus to be able to know how to respond to a loss and to a mistake. Right? What are you going to do when a mistake happens? What are you going to do when a loss happens? What is your focus going to be on? Right? You have to focus on what you do want rather than what you don't want, right? Like the pickleball player I gave you earlier, his example. Instead of him focusing on the putting the ball into the net or on the actual mistake like he used to, now he focuses on what he can do the next play in order to not do that the next time. So for him, he would not flick his wrist enough. He would not load his leg enough. So he thinks to himself now, all right, I got to load my leg more because I didn't load my leg. That's the reason it didn't go over the net, or that's the reason it went too high. That's what he focuses on now. Instead of carrying that negative energy and that negative thought into the next what is it point next to the next point. He trained his focus to focus on the future and the present rather than what just happened in the past. He doesn't bring the past into the future with him. All right. So have a system in place. Already know what you're going to do and align your focus with when you make a mistake or a loss. Okay. The next thing is emotional regulation. Learn how to regulate your emotions with the win and the loss. How are you going to react when you win a game? All right. Like I said earlier, we're all human. It's okay to feel emotions. It's okay to feel that happiness or that gratitude after a win. I'm just don't let it take you to mountain high, and don't let that loss and feeling shitty about yourself take you 6 feet below either. All right. You can feel those, you can feel that happiness, you can feel that gratitude, you can feel the frustration, you can feel the disappointment. Just don't let it own you. Just don't take that into the next game. Okay? So train yourself to regulate these emotions. What I have my athletes do is I have them meditate. I have them get into a relaxed meditative state and just feel and embody these emotions, especially after a loss, to the point where it just neutralizes. Okay? I never have them take past emotions into the next game. All right? So now that you know these two things, implement this for yourself and really build your own system. And if you're an elite athlete watching this, like whether you're in college or you play professionally and you struggle with this or you struggle with the mental side of the game specifically, click the link in the description below and I would love to help you. All right, I will see you in the next video.